Hi, Virgo. Welcome to The Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. We're going to look at January today for you guys. General reading. You can use this for your sun, moon, or rising for Virgo. I did a Celtic Cross spread plus an oracle card that I got for Christmas. It's really nice. It's the Threads of Fate oracle. I'm using the Obano Weight deck, classic. Let's get into this. You have a lot of major arcana right off the bat, so that's nice. Really vibrant reading, actually. And themes that will probably stick with you through longer than January, through the year, maybe just because it's a New Year's reading. So let's just take a look. So oracle card I just pulled for kind of like the main theme through the month. I pulled Take Risk. It's very Capricornian energy for Capricorn season. I like that. It's been haunting everybody, honestly. It's in the reverse. Interesting. So, okay, I got a heavy hit on the solar plexus heart. So I feel like this is actually a trigger of some sort, something to clear. Something to clear that's stopping you from taking risks. And by risks, I mean risking the heart specifically. So that could be, like the career of your dreams, right? Like the thing that's stopping you from pursuing the career of your dreams. This could also be just the thing that stops you from pursuing the relationship of your dreams. Something that's really special to you that I think you know what it is because you spent the year, like the last year, kind of working on what you want. That's been a big theme for Virgo, is like kind of uncovering that. And so I think you guys may have just a little bit more direction coming into this year as opposed to last year where things felt a little bit scrambled. It's like you're coming into this year with more focus, and so the next task is getting yourself in a place where you do feel comfortable taking that risk you want to take, so that you can build your life in the way that you really want to build it. And so all I'm really getting from the reversal is that eventually this will go direct. Like, this is the goal, is getting this energy to go direct so that you have the courage and the know-how maybe to take that risk you want to take. This month is about getting yourself ready for that, preparing to be able to do that. Okay. Nice. So this is what's on your heart for the month of January, and it's the sun. This is about feeling good. For those of us in the northern hemisphere that are in the middle of winter, I think this is kind of a powerful energy because it's kind of like that energy of holding your own, like being the lantern in the nighttime kind of energy, where it's like no matter what's around you, can you be the sun? Can you be this energy? Can you tap into that joy? The other nice thing about the sun is it's always there. It's like, even though we're, in wintertime where we're not feeling the sun's rays as strongly, it's still there, and it comes back, and it turns into summer again. And so it's kind of, it's like renewed faith, renewed hope in the dream, maybe the dream that you're working up the courage to pursue. This could even just be, connecting with yourself spiritually. It doesn't have to be this big thing that you're doing, although it can be. It can really just be anything. That thing that you want to do that you feel like you can't. This is what we're going for. And so the sun energy is really supportive of that because it's about recognizing the sun in you, that which is present, eternal, radiant, that which generates its own light. It's just recognizing that within you. And so this is a really optimistic card in the sense of, telling yourself, yeah, I can do this. So I think January may be about building your optimism up, building it up, lifting your vibration, not to be generic. But yeah, uplifting yourself, more joy, more optimism. This is a very lucky energy as well. It's good for manifestation. This is the ability to just know what you want, to go after it with kind of the innocence of childhood, like the healthy inner child. And if you kind of tap into that archetype of the healthy inner child, it's like the healthy inner child just wants to do everything, just wants to experiment, just wants to discover things and be in nature and figure out what they're good at, things like that. Kind of like the playful spirit that doesn't negate work. It's like understanding when work is play and vice versa, and that's another Capricornian theme. It's kind of like, when is the play work? When is the work play? What's the difference really? And so when you tap into that cheerful optimism, it feels like everything you do there's less pressure. There's less pressure because you're doing things because you want to do them and because they have value to you, not because you feel like you have to. And so I think that's the goal here, is whatever it is that you're pursuing with this take risk card. It's like whatever it is that you pursue next needs to feel so good to you that it feels like you don't work a day in your life. You know, if this is work, and I'm kind of getting a hit on work for many of you. But we do have the Lover's card, so I think there's a possibility this is a relationship as well. And the Star cards, there's a possibility for just wanting to enhance yourself spiritually. Those are the three hardest hits I'm getting. Yeah, it's like, can you do it with joy, with ease? I think that's what you're looking for, the ease and joy of being and of doing things that have heart and meaning for you. Crossing that energy is the Lover's card. Yeah, as I'm feeling into this card now, it really does feel like it's just you. Your relationship with yourself, with your own heart, with your own dream, with your own soul's purpose, with your own soul, with the universe. This is about that reconnecting with that which has heart and meaning for you, reconnecting with the dreaming that you are a part of and that you're bringing with you into this life. So this is very soul's purposey. For some of you, it may even be reconnecting with your soul's purpose if you don't know what it is or you don't know what it feels like. Also very supported by the sun, because the sun just is the sun. You know what I mean? It just radiates its own light. It just is the sun. And so it's like you connecting with your being, that core being through which everything else radiates, because from there it's easy. If you can feel into your own being, you can feel into what that being wants to do. You know what I mean? And so I think it's just coming back to that, coming back to yourself. Yeah. Deep past affecting the present, we have the Devil. This is self-limitation, restriction, all the ways that you've held yourself back from your own, due to your own fear, or even shame, or feelings of like worthlessness, or like I can't do it, or and this really does feel like you're on the other side of this. Like you're at a place now where these restrictions or self-limiting beliefs have less weight. With the sun, again, it's just kind of like you're building yourself up. You're really working on your own self-esteem, your confidence, your optimism. And that's the big change here. Going from this place where you're really identified with your restrictions and moving into this place where you're actually identified with your freedom. I think many of you have already freed yourselves this past year. And this is the new cycle of, now that I'm free, what's next, right? Yeah, definitely. Foundation this month, we have the Four of Cups. This is you saying, this is boundary setting. This is you setting new boundaries with the people in your life, most likely. It could also be with, you know, a job that doesn't support you in the way that you need it to. This could even be boundaries with yourself, like, we're not gonna do this anymore, it's not good for me, you know. But this is you saying no, essentially, saying no to things that aren't working for you, setting boundaries with people in your life, drawing the line when they've crossed, drawing the line where there is no line, and enforcing it if people have crossed it. Yeah, this is just gonna make you feel so much better. Again, I'm getting this sense of relief, and I'm getting the sun energy and the Lovers as well, where you're really being your own lover this month. Not to say that you may not be in a good relationship. I'm not saying that at all. I just, like, what I'm getting from this energy is you being your own best lover right now. You being in a good place, optimistic, self-reliant. And so this is you just stepping up to your relationships in a new way, so that you're making sure that you're getting what you're needing and you're not sacrificing that to keep other people happy, or anything like that, okay? Crowning you this month, we have the Star. So much major arcana. This is connecting with your highest power. And there's this real sense of flow. Sometimes I don't get the heavy hit on like the water bearer aspect. This is Aquarius. So if you have Aquarius in your chart, look at that in reading as well. Yeah, something about just there's a fluidity to this card. Specifically, kind of like water falling from a high place. And so I think this is allowing divine energy to kind of channel into your body and through you in a new way. This is going to allow you to soften the edges of this devil card. Because I think what's happening here is a mind trap, like self-limiting stories and beliefs kind of keeping you stuck in a certain place or frequency. Like if you tell yourself constantly, I'm not good enough, and that's keeping you stuck. This star energy is kind of coming in and eroding those self-limiting beliefs. And the emphasis here is actually on your emotions. And so I think your emotions start to run in a new way. And I don't mean that in a messy way. It feels very deliberate. It feels very divinely inspired. It feels like a lot of flow is being introduced. So I think you're reducing stagnation. You're unblocking things that might be stuck. You're allowing your emotions to be more fluid. And what that's doing is washing away these self-limiting narratives that are stuck in your head. And so instead of there kind of being like, your body and your spirit are like one part of your energy field and your mind is over here doing something else, this is kind of like cutting the power off from your mind in ways that are dysfunctional, reintroducing energy back into your body and your field itself so that you come into more body-mind alignment is what I'm feeling. The universe may also just have something for you this month. If you connect, if you have a way of doing that. This might be insight, information. This might even be connection into your ancient self. So this could be, like ancestral work. This could also be past life work. I've been doing some of that past life work, and it's really intense because when you connect with past lives that had really big gifts, like you learned a lot from that life, you can tap into that energy in this life, and that can change everything. Because instead of feeling small, like feeling like, oh, I'm only, I'm this 35-year-old person living in this reality. I do this for work. I have such and such a skill. This is my life. These are my supports, whatever you look at, however you look at your life in that kind of grounded way, that in a sense makes you feel small because it's like, oh, I only have 35 years of experience, if you're 35 or whatever. What you do when you connect to that past life energy is realize like, oh, I was a monk for 50 years in a past life. And so I have the knowledge and skill from that time that I can tap into. So it makes you feel more real. It makes you tap into the gifts you do have innately that maybe you don't allow yourself to tap into because of the kind of the physical material limitations, right? We have this story culturally of like, certain things that we think we can do or not do based on that experience, when in reality we have lifetimes of experience, right? So tap into those lifetimes. See what's there. You are so much more than, a 25-year-old, 35-year-old, 45-year-old, whatever, doing whatever life you're living now. You've lived lifetimes. You're ancient. Tap into that, okay? New circumstance, Page of Wands. This is forward momentum. This is you taking a step in a new direction. Maybe not necessarily a new direction for some of you. Some of you may just be taking the next step in whatever it is that you're already doing. But this is forward motion. This is movement towards a goal. This could be an offer, although I think for many of you, you're initiating something. Something that has a lot of passion for you. Something that fires you up. And it's going to help build the energy, I think, because if some of you, if you've been feeling a little stagnant or a little low energy, the Devil and the Four of Cups can kind of suggest exhaustion. Cards like the Sun, the Star, the Page of Wands are kind of all on your side for coming into this new year with more energy. So I think you guys have an opportunity here to feel less tired. And I think that's partly because you'll be setting new boundaries with people, so other people aren't putting a drain on your energy. You're connecting with the highest power, and so universal energy is coming in and fueling you. And you're reconnecting with your soul's purpose, with your true source of power, and that is going to fuel you. I think especially the soul's purpose aspect, feeling like you have a sense of direction and meaning for where you want your life to go next. I think that's really going to fuel this Page of Wands because I feel the energy really picking up. Okay. Your energy this month is your ego. 5 of Cups. This actually feels good. I feel like you're really looking on the bright side. If you have a wobble moment, I think it's going to be because you have this experience or this moment where you feel like you're not where you want to be, or that you should be more advanced, quote unquote. You should be farther along in your career. You should be farther along in your life, in your relationship, in your spirituality, whatever. Yeah, I think the story here is like, maybe you tap into your power this month, right? Like, oh, I see all these lifetimes, or I see all these ancestral gifts, or whatever is coming in from the star card, tapping into your kind of ancient self and your innate gifts that you've brought into this life. And this may be a moment of grief where it feels like wasted time, like, oh, I wasted my life. Oh, I'm not as far along as I should be with the gifts I have, right? And so the key here is to make sure that you're focusing on what is working. Like, what is working is all that you've already accomplished, all the work you've done this past year. It was a crazy, insane, disappointing year in some ways. I don't think it was disappointing if you've done your work internally, but it's disappointing in an external sense where, this year did not go the way anyone thought it was going to go. And it's important to recognize that you did the best with what you could this year. And that there was a reason for it. I mean, the nice thing about this past year is we had so much opportunity to grow because everything slowed down. So instead of being, kind of in the thick of like the busyness of, quote unquote normal life, we were all forced to kind of look at our wake and, see where we really are. If external circumstances aren't involved, where are you in your life? And that's a completely internal experience, because it's ultimately, how are you doing with you? Like, how is your self-intimacy? How is your happiness? Because it's really not defined by what's going on in the world. It's an inside job. And so I think this month was really important for understanding that. And so you're really off to a great start here with this new year. I think you really learned a lot this past year. I think you are really ready to roll coming into this next cycle. I think you have more support than you did before. I think you have more self-understanding than you did before. Again, the Lovers, you're reconnecting with yourself. And so I would encourage you to grieve what you need to grieve, but there's no real standard of comparison in a multidimensional reality, which this is. And so don't look at somebody younger than you and think they're more advanced in your career or more evolved than you spiritually. Don't look at it like that. Look at it as, okay, I chose this life. I chose these gifts. I chose these challenges. I chose this timeline. So where you are is where you are. And if you can feel into that presence, that being here now in your body in this time, you'll tap back into the source of everything, which is ancient and timeless. And so just recognize that. You are exactly where you need to be. Nothing else matters. Don't look at the person next to you. I mean, if it's real, genuine grief, like, oh, I've not stepped up in ways that I should have, I'm not saying not to honor that. Like, honor that, validate that, grieve it, and move on and let go and accept where you are, because that's what will prevent you from stagnation. There has been some stagnation in the Virgo energies this past year, particularly like the first half of last year. You've really come out of that stagnation, many of you. And so what I'll encourage you to do is keep the momentum going, because if you just go back into this mode of, oh, I'm not where I want to be, oh, I've wasted time, oh, I've messed up, and you stay there, you're going to go back into stagnation, and that's not what we want, right? So perfection doesn't exist because there'd be no path. If everything was perfect, right? So understand that you are perfect exactly as you are. This moment is perfect exactly as it is because it's here. Everything that is in front of you, everything that is right now is here for you, and all of that is a gift. Existence itself is a gift. And you are here because you have a gift. So I think it's important to not focus on the cups that have already spilled and to refocus on the cups that are still here and full and upright for you, because there is plenty to be thankful for. There's plenty to thank yourself for and to appreciate about yourself. And so, I think it's really time to move on and to allow yourself to dream again if you haven't been able to dream for a while. Okay? Environmental energy, Page of Swords. This could be an offer coming in. If you're in some sort of, because you are Mercury, you're ruled by Mercury, so I know a lot of Virgos do choose communication careers. For those of you that are in communication careers, this could be some sort of job offer or promotion. I think more likely this is just information. I think somebody may come to you. It could be a person, it could be a spirit. I think for many of you it is a person. I'm getting that. With a piece of information that changes everything for you. So maybe this is like a perspective change, like somebody says something to you that makes you realize something about the process you're going through, and it shifts your perspective, and you are able to tap into the star energy. So that's a possibility. This could even be something you read, like a book that changes your life. That's a possibility. Those are always nice. Yeah, I think this is just a piece of information that you need that's going to come in this month that shifts your process in some way. That's all I'm really getting from this. But as far as environmental energy as a whole, I think what this does is really support your process. So I think environment is good in general. Hopes and fears this month. We have the Five of Wands reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Let's look at the Five of Wands. So I think there's a bit of a fear of the mind this month. I think because of this devil energy, you're kind of like, the mind hasn't done me any favors recently. It's only told me how like not good I am. And so there may be a sense of like you rejecting your mind. Because of the history of like mental, of like beating yourself mentally. So like the self-criticism, pointing out flaws in yourself, the I'm not perfect stories, the I'm not good enough stories, nobody likes me, you know, those kinds of stories, or whatever is coming up for you right now. It's unique to each person in some ways. Just be careful not to shame the shamer or to judge the judger in you. You know what I mean? Like if it feels like you're judging yourself or even judging others, but I'm going to focus on you. If it feels like you're judging yourself, shaming yourself, blaming yourself for all that has not gone right in your life, seemingly, right? For the ways that you've caused yourself pain. I think what this energy might be saying is, if you're judging your judger, if you're judging your shamer, if you're judging your criticizer, you're just doing that squared. And so it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's just criticizing your criticizer is criticism squared. Just watch out for that. And try to pull back and instead ask, okay, why is this story being generated? Like why is this voice of criticism criticizing me in this way, and what do they need? So bring it back into, you know, everything that exists within you exists because it was trying to keep you safe at a certain time, even if it's outlived its usefulness and now it's trapping you and it's just old and you need to update your system, right? That's the path. That's what you do when you're on a spiritual path. You're just cleaning out the old so that you can truly evolve. And so the stuff that's outlived its usefulness, like the judger, the criticizer, the shamer, whatever, don't do the same thing to it that it's doing to you, because that's just the same pattern squared. Don't shame your shamer. Ask your shamer what they're afraid of and what they need. Don't judge your judger. Ask your judger what they're afraid of and what they need. And in this way, you actually stop the pattern from perpetuating, because that's the thing about the spiral too, is the spiral spirals. So whatever the energy is, it tends to just magnify if you allow it to. So if there's a pattern in continuous that you want to discontinue, you have to actually discontinue the pattern by changing it and doing something else. So judging your judger isn't helpful. So that's what that's about. Paired with the Queen of Pentacles reversed. I think some of you guys feel like you may just be really dependent on other people. Like if you're dependent on your spouse for money and food and survival and housing, if you're dependent on what your partner, doesn't have to be your spouse, just your romantic partner for that, if you're dependent on your parents still, or just, the lighter version of that is if you don't have as much money as you'd like to, you don't have the house you'd like to, you don't have the support, or like the resources that you would like to, that might be some of where the shame is coming from. Like there's this sense of like, oh, I'm way too reliant on other people. This could even be if you're just reliant on like external validation for sense of worth or things like that. Which I notice in Virgos that have Leo placements in particular, but not usually Virgos who don't. But that is coming up for me. And so, again, I feel like there's this shame. There's this shame or this judgment story around how reliant you are on other people, and maybe this desire to kind of be more independent. If your partner provides for everything, maybe there's someone in you that's like, well, I want to provide too. I want to make money. I want to contribute to the household. If this is about external validation, it's like your desire to begin validating yourself instead of relying on other people for that, for your sense of worth. If this is about money, it's just like you want to make more. You want to make more. You want to be better with your money. And so I would encourage you to look at the desire instead of what's not working. For some of you, I feel like this is relatively new. Like suddenly you care. Suddenly you care about how reliant you are on other people. Or maybe it's not suddenly. It's just like you were unconscious of the fact that you were guilting yourself for that. And now it's becoming conscious. It could be something like that. That's probably more true now that I think about it. So, but the thing about this coming out of left field is the important thing here is you have some sort of new desire. This new desire is coming out of the work that you've done. So your desire to take a new risk, to risk your heart, your soul's purpose in some way, to create a legacy for your life, this desire to be more joyful, more optimistic, to uplift yourself, to generate your own energy, your desire to reconnect with your heart space, your desire to move forward in a new way. All of this desire is coming out of the work that you've already done to create more intimacy with yourself, to be more in tune with your process, to have more clarity about who you are and what you want to do. And so that's a really, really positive thing. That's the growth, right? And so this Queen of Pentacles is coming out of that growth. And so the challenge here is instead of judging yourself for what you don't have already, for the ways that you may be dependent on others, instead of judging yourself for that, recognize, oh, this desire is coming out of the work I've done, because this is a genuine desire that I want for myself. And so that's the gift here. If you can focus on the desire itself, and then the steps you want to take, Page of Wands, the steps you want to take to get there, that is beautiful. But yeah, the fact that you even have the desire is a sign of your growth, not a sign of your detriment, right? So watch out for your judger, watch out for your shamer, because this is a new story for you. And so this is going to come in and act like you're flawed or you have a problem that you need to solve. It's not about a problem. It's about building. It's about building on what you already have now, building on what you've cultivated, so that you can have more of what you want, so that you can continue to evolve and grow and gain skills and knowledge. So it's a measure of everything that's right with you, not what's wrong with you. Okay. Outcome. 7 of Wands, reversed. Actually, this feels good. This feels like a lift. In the upright, this is like coming up against resistance and recognizing that you're stronger than you think you are. In the reversal, what I'm getting is things are going to ease up. I don't think that you're going to run into the same challenges you've been running into, because I think you've done your work and you've learned lessons. And so I think this may come as a bit of I don't want to say shock, because it feels like too heavy of a word or like too intense of a word, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at like how much easier this next cycle is. I don't think it's going to be as challenging. I don't think taking this risk is going to be as challenging as you think right now. I still think there's preliminary work that you need to do this month to get yourself in a place where you have the self-confidence, the self-worth, and the courage to take that risk, and the trust and the faith in the universe as well, that you're going to be met with the same energy that you're initiating. And so there's work to do there around self-worth, around trust, around faith. And so I think the nice thing about this is this liftoff. I think some of you feel like you've just been hit with challenge after challenge after challenge. And I've seen it. I've seen it in the people I know with Virgo placements. I've really seen it. Yeah. This is an indication that the next cycle is going to be easier. I think a lot of the hardship that you faced, you've already faced. Not to say there won't be challenges in the future, but I think you've wrapped up a karmic cycle, like in December especially. I was kind of getting heavy karmic energy for everyone. Can't remember if I pulled Wheel of Fortune for you guys. I know I did for several. I think you really have wrapped up some kind of karmic cycle, and you're on completely new ground this year. So as long as you stay in process, and you meet that process with like a huge, with a huge amount of self-compassion and self-care, while still being, while still having the courage to really stand in your process, because that alone takes courage. I think you're in for a much better year. I really do. This card is really saying, this past year or this past cycle, if it's lasted several years, for many of you it has, could even be the last 7 years of your life. Last 7 years of your life. The goal, the lesson in that last 7-year cycle was to remind you, or to let you know, or to help you come into the understanding that you are stronger than you think you are. And it's like, once you've realized, oh, I have the strength to get through anything. I have the strength to get through anything. I think being able to affirm that to yourself, which I think you can, because you've seen the work that you've done. You've seen the way that you've survived in the past few years. And if you look at your lifetime, you've made it to this point. That means you're a survivor. And that's strength. And so what are you going to do with it now? What are you going to do now that you know that you have the strength to get through anything? I think the magic here is, instead of reacting to what's happening around you and responding and surviving and kind of being on the defensive, which this card is a very defensive energy, I think the key here is, what are you going to do with this strength now that you're running the show? Now that you're coming into a deeper sense of independence, now that you are recognizing your ancient wisdom that exists through all of your lifetimes, now that you are recognizing that you are the sun, you can generate your own light, your own energy, you simply exist, you are being itself. Now that you've reconnected with your own heart in a new way, now that you can stand up for yourself, hold your ground, and set boundaries with people that want to drain you, well, not want to, but that do drain you, now that all of that is in play, you're going to enter this new cycle where you begin to create your reality instead of reacting and protecting yourself against what is happening around you. And so with that sense of strength that you've cultivated from that last cycle, what would you do with it if life did get easier? Because that's where take risk comes in again. Do you have what it takes to take the risk that you want to take to live the life you want to live? And you already know the answer because you've already done it. You've done it the past few years, and it's time to move on. It's time to make your life yours, essentially. So that's the potential here. If you have a personal concern and you'd like to see how these energies are playing out in your life, you can schedule a personal reading with me in the box below. Follow me on social media, hit like if you like this video, subscribe if you want to see the next Virgo video in February, and I will see you guys then. Love you guys. Bye.